Thou knowest, Lord, the secrets of our hearts. Shut not thy merciful ears to our prayer, but spare us, Lord, most holy, O God, most mighty, O holy and merciful Savior, thou most worthy Judge eternal. For as much as it hath pleased Almighty God, of his great mercy to receive unto himself the soul of our dear brother here departed, we therefore commit his body to the ground, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, in sure and certain hope of the resurrection to eternal life through our Lord Jesus Christ, who shall change our mortal body, that it may be like unto his glorious body, according to the mighty working, whereby he is able to subdue all things to himself. Amen.
Marion wanted me to assure you had arrived. It's harmless. Come in, Jim.
Marion, it really was a beautiful service. You handled the whole thing spectacularly, considering everything.
Thank you. What did Arthur say?
He just wanted to go back to the apartment and be alone.
You think I should call him?
Why don't you just take care of yourself for a change?
Tell you the truth, I'm more surprised by how many people did show up than by how many didn't.
My husband told me I was crazy to come taking a chance like that. I told him it was being ridiculous. You did. I saw it at the back anyway.
Let's go back inside.
Marion, sorry, but you wouldn't believe the day I'm having already. 2 appointments downtown, then you, and I'm already late for court.
I can come back another time.
Oh, no, I've got it all ready for you to take. Normally, I'd go through it all with you, but I'm double parked downstairs. But hey, you shouldn't have trouble with any of it. It's pretty straightforward.
All this for one apartment?
Oh, copies mostly. Look, if you want, I can go downstairs, park the car in a lot, take a cab back, and just let the court wait.
No.
But it's also simple. Arthur is giving you power of attorney to sell the loft. You are giving him a check for half the purchase price. The rest are just papers attesting to papers you've already signed. Here, have a quick look-see. You certainly made a good investment when you bought that loft. It's a shame to let it go.
I don't think we're ready to be a two-dwelling family.
So sublet it.
Arthur needs the money.
Oh, Arthur got plenty already. I'm not crying for Arthur.
I don't hear you starting it again, do I?
Your interests and your wishes are my only concern. But it is ridiculous. We'd have no trouble contesting Colin's will.
June?
You have his child to support.
And I have a great job, and my husband has a great job. And what has Arthur got?
To my mind, 50% of everything that belongs to you and more. All of Colin's personal effects, the furniture.
I suppose their 3 years together mean absolutely nothing.
Compared to your 11 years of marriage? Not nothing, but not half of everything.
Who gets which copies?
2 of each for Arthur. 1 for you, and anything that's left over comes back to me. I still say you should have rented the place out for a year first and then sold it. You would have gotten an even better price. Who wants to buy a place when they know someone's died there? No one. And certainly no one wants to buy a place when they know someone's died of AIDS.
June, stop.
Oh, that was out of line. Sometimes my mouth does that to me. Hey, that's why I'm a lawyer. If my brain worked as fast as my mouth, I would have gotten a real job. So, is there anything else before I have to use my fee to pay the towing bill?
I guess not.
Great. Look, do yourself a favor. Meet Arthur in a restaurant or something. Stay out of the loft. Look, I know I'm approaching this a bit coldly. I am aware that someone you love has just died. But there is a time and a place for everything. This is about tidying up loose ends, not holding hands. Please remember that when you meet him. Give me a call.
Arthur just ran out to the store. He left the keys on that table.
Thank you. What is with you today?
I've got to be home by 7. I've got practice.
Can't you close the practice? Don't worry.
I don't want to go in there.
Jimmy, don't make me crazy. We'll go inside. I'll call Aunt Helen and see if we can go down and play with Robbie.
I'm going downstairs.
Jimmy, please.
This place gives me the creeps.
It's your father's apartment. There's nothing creepy about it.
Says you.
Would you mind closing the door, please? Now, look, why don't you go upstairs to your room and make sure you haven't left anything behind.
It's empty.
Go look.
I looked last time.
Honey, we sold this apartment. You're never going to be here again. Now, please just go and make sure you have everything that you need.
Uncle Arthur packed everything.
Go make sure.
There's nothing in there.
I said make sure. Everything's an argument with that one.
Nothing. Told you so.
Your Uncle Arthur must have worked very hard. Make sure you thank him.
What for? Robbie says. They love cleaning up.
He can be a real joy sometimes. You know that?
Did you call Aunt Helen?
Do I get a break here? Aren't you going to say goodbye?
To who?
The apartment. You and your daddy spent a lot of time here. I mean, don't you want to take one last look around?
Ma, get a real life.
Oh, that's nice. That's very nice.
Could you call already?
What does it look like I'm doing? Helen. Hi. No, I'm upstairs. Yeah, listen, Jimmy wants to know if he can come down. Great, thanks. Don't go in the street and don't play in the elevator. Hi. No, I'm fine. Yeah, no, really. Yeah. Jimmy just told me to get a real life. I don't think I could deal with anything realer. No, listen, no. That's not necessary. No. No, Arthur will be back in a few minutes, and we just have to sign a few papers and get rid of a few loose ends, you know. Tie them up. Oh, I could use a stiff drink, but no, I drove. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll just come down afterwards. Okay. Yeah. Okay, bye. Pens. One last thing to pack.
Hi, Mom, I'm home.
Hi, Arthur.
Oh, my God, son. Well, hi, guys.
Hi, Mr. Kissel.
Robbie and Judy. Hey, mind giving me a ride up? Hey, anybody here like chocolate?
Thanks, Mr. Kissel.
You know, I never travel without a full day supply. But you never know when you're gonna run into a desperate choco-maniac. It's better to be prepared, right? Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Kissel.
Oh, Arthur, I didn't hear the door.
Hi.
Listen, I was going to ask you if you were thinking of taking this. Because if you're not, I'll take it. Unless, of course, you want it.
No, you can have it.
I never really liked it. I hate cats. I didn't even like the show. I got this for my college dorm room. I was never exactly the rock poster type. Kept it in the back of a closet for years. And then when Colin moved in here, he took it. He said he liked it.
I do too.
Oh, well, then you keep it.
No, take it.
No, there's really no room for it. You keep it.
I don't want it.
Well, if you're sure.
You're taking the teapot?
If you don't mind.
One less thing to pack.
It's funny, it's exactly what I said. One less thing to pack. My mother gave it to Colin and me when we moved into our first apartment. A silly, sentimental piece of junk, but you know.
That's not the one.
Sure it is. Hall made these for Westinghouse back in the 30s. I see them in antique shows all the time. I always want to get another one, but they ask a fortune for them.
We broke the one your mother gave you. That's a reproduction. You can get them almost anywhere in the village for 18 bucks.
Oh, really? Well, I'll have to pick one up.
Take that one.
No, it's yours. You bought it.
One less thing to pack.
Don't be silly. I didn't come here to raid the place.
Was there anything else you thought you might like to have?
Stop. You're making me feel so dumb. Actually, there were a few things. I made a list. Not for me. But I was thinking of different people, friends, relatives who might want to have something of Colin's to remember him by. I didn't know what you were throwing out and what you were taking. Anyway, I made a list, so you look it over. You probably thought of a lot of these people yourself. I mean, they're only suggestions, but I figured it couldn't hurt to write it all down. And like I said, I didn't know what you were planning on keeping.
I was planning on keeping it all.
Oh, I know, but, I mean, some of these things are really useless, like his high school yearbooks. What would you want to do with them?
Oh, sure, I'm only interested in his gay period.
I didn't mean it like that. Anyway, you look it over. Whatever you decide is fine with me.
It would have to be, wouldn't it? I mean, this is all mine. He did leave it all to me.
While we're on the subject of what's yours, I brought a batch of condolence cards. They were addressed to you, care of me, relatives mostly.
More cards. I'm gonna have another printing of thank you notes done.
Well, I answered those last week, so you don't have to bother. Unless you want to.
Forge my signature?
Of course not. They were addressed to both of us, and, well, they're mostly distant relatives, friends we haven't seen in ages, so it's nobody important.
If they have my name on them, I'll answer them myself.
I wasn't telling you not to. I was just saying you didn't have to.
I understand.
I'll just put this back. Want some help?
No. I'd like to do this. Thanks.
I understand.
I ran into Jimmy playing in the elevator.
He's really racking up the points today.
You know, he still can't look me in the face.
He's reacting to all this really strangely. Give him time. He'll come around. He's really very fond of you.
Oh, I know. He's just at that awkward age. Under 30. I'm sure in 20 years we'll be best of friends.
Not what you think.
What does that mean?
I just thought you were intimating something about him blaming you for Colin's death, and I was saying it isn't true. We discussed it a lot, and he knows that his father was sick before you two ever met.
I don't believe this.
I'm just trying to say that he doesn't blame you.
First of all, who asked you? Secondly, that's between him and me. And third, and most importantly, of course he blames me. Marion, he's 9 years old. You can discuss all you want. The fact is, his father died of a fag disease, and I'm the only fag around to finger.
Your son does not use that kind of language.
Forget the language. I'm talking about what he's been through. Can you imagine the kind of crap he's had to take from his friends? He's got to have someone to blame just to survive. He can't blame you. You're all he's got. Can't blame his father. He's dead. So Uncle Arthur gets the shaft. Fine. I can handle it.
You're so wrong, Arthur. I know my son. That is not the way his mind works.
Look, I don't know what you know. I only know what I know. And all I know is what I see and hear, the snide remarks, the little smirks. And it's not just the illness. He's been looking for a scapegoat since you and Colin first split up. Finally, I came along and insisted that he know the truth. Well, thank God for Uncle Arthur. Thank God for someone to blame.
Wait. Are you saying if he's going to blame someone, then it should be me?
I am simply trying to say that you should try to see things from his point of view.
And where do you get off thinking you're privy to my son's point of view?
What is so hard to imagine? Life's rolling right along. He's having a happy little childhood, and all of a sudden, one day, his father's moving out. No excuses, no explanations, none of the fights that usually accompany such things. You know, divorce is hard enough for a kid to understand when he's listened to years of battles, but yours?
What should we have done? Faked a few months' worth of fights before Colin left?
You could have told him the truth, plain and simple.
He was 4 years old at the time. How the hell do you tell a 4-year-old that his father is leaving his mother to go sleep with other men?
Well, not like that.
Arthur, I'm going to say this as nicely as I can. Butt out. There's only so much information a child that age can handle.
So it's best he reaches Phil on the street.
He knew about the two of you. We discussed it.
Oh, Marion, he knew before you discussed it. He's young, not stupid.
You know, it's very easy for you to stand there and pass judgment on all this. But there are certain aspects and issues of this situation that you will never understand. You weren't there. You have no idea what it was like for me. You're talking to someone who thought you went to college to meet a husband. I went to protest rallies for music. I bought a guitar because it looked good on the bed. This lifestyle, this knowledge that you take for granted was all a little left field for me. I met Colin my sophomore year, and we got married right after graduation. And settled right in for a nice, quiet life of kids and careers. You think I was ready for this? Talk about life's little surprises. I lived with somebody for 11 years. And you share a life, a bed, you have a child. And one day you wake up and he tells you it's all been a lie. A lie. Try that one on its eyes. Here you are, the happiest couple you know, and he tells you it's all been a lie.
I'm sure he never said that.
I'll be so sure. There was a lot of new ground being broken back then, and most of it was muddy.
He still loved you.
What's that supposed to do, make things easier? Well, it doesn't. I was brought up to believe that if you love somebody, that was enough. So what if I wasn't everything he ever wanted? Maybe he wasn't everything I ever wanted. But you know what? You count your blessings and you settle.
No one has to settle.
Of course not. You can say up yours to everyone who ever needs you and relies on you and go off to make yourself happy.
It's not that simple.
No, this is simpler. Death is simpler. Are you happy now?
How about a nice hot cup of coffee? Tea with lemon. Hot cocoa. With a marshmallow floating in it.
I lied before. He was everything I ever wanted.
You know, when I ran into Jimmy before, I absolutely freaked for a second. It's incredible how much they look alike. It's like seeing a little miniature Colin standing there.
I know. He's like his clone. There's nothing of me in him.
I always thought he'd take after me as he matured. Not much hope, I guess.
They don't do anything bad.
Anything we can consume is one less thing to pack.
So you said.
So we've said.
I want to keep seeing you, and I want you to keep seeing Jimmy. You're still part of this family. I was looking to turn you out.
Well, who wanted kids to grow up looking like me anyway? I had enough trouble looking like this, why pass on the misery?
What do you mean you're adorable?
What's that like saying I have a good personality?
Just need a few good nights' sleep to get rid of the rings on your eyes.
You got the rings around my eyes. How about the rings around my moon?
I like you like this.
You know, from the time that Colin started using the wheelchair until he died, about 6 months, I lost 17 pounds. No gym, no diet. He's been gone 7 weeks. I've gained more than 20.
You're exaggerating.
I'd prove it on the bathroom scale, but I sold it in working order.
Never know.
Marion, you'd never know. But ask my belt, ask my pants, ask my underwear. My stretch socks have stretch marks. You know, I called the ambulance about 5 a.m. By 9, he was in the morgue and I was on a first-name basis with Sarah Lee. I can tell you the location of every 24-hour grocery in the greater New York area. I have memorized the phone numbers of every Hunan, Szechuan, and souvlaki joint with free delivery. I was even thinking of starting my own overeaters hotline. We'd have to start small, but expansion is guaranteed.
You know, if I couldn't be everything he ever wanted, I'm grateful he found someone like you.
Keep your goddamn gratitude to yourself. I didn't go through any of this for you. Your thanks are out of line. And he did not find someone like me. It was me. And I'll ask you to remember one thing more. He died in my arms, not yours. Look. I know that you are trying to say something supportive. Save your breath. There's nothing that you're going to say that's going to make any of this any easier for me. And that's your fault. Because after 3 years, you still have no idea of who I am. Or maybe you do know and you don't want to accept it. I don't know. I don't care. But at least understand from my point of view who you are. You are my husband's ex-wife. If you like, the mother of my stepson. Don't flatter yourself into thinking you're any more than that. And whatever you are, you're certainly not my friend.
I'll just leave these papers here and then I'll be out of your way.
Don't you mean I'll be out of your way? After all, I'm not just signing papers, I'm signing away my home.
Just sign them where indicated and send them back to my lawyer.
Don't forget my painting.
What do you want from me, Arthur?
I want you out of my apartment. I want you out of my life, and I want you to leave Colin alone.
The man is dead. I don't know how much more alone I can leave him.
Lots more, Marion.
For the life of me, I don't know what I've done or what you think I've done to make you treat me like this. But you're not going to get away with it. You are not going to take your anger out on me. I will not stand here and be insulted and badgered by you. I know you've been hurt. I know you're hurting. But you're not the only one who's lost someone here.
Yes, I am. You didn't just lose him, I did. You lost him 5 years ago when he divorced you. This is not your moment of grief. It's mine. These condolences do not belong to you. They're mine. His things are not yours to give away. They are mine. Bought and paid for. I suffered for them. I bled for them. I am the one who cooked his meals. I am the one who spoon-fed them. I pushed his wheelchair. I changed his diapers and wiped his backside. I kept him alive for 2 years longer than any doctor thought possible. And when it was time, I was the one who prepared him for death. I have paid in full for my place in his life, and I will not share it with you. We are not the two widows of Colin Redding. Your life was not here. You have a husband and his son somewhere else. You've got a whole new life sitting there waiting for you, wondering, as I am, what the hell you're doing here and why you won't let go. Let him go, Marion. He's mine. Dead or alive. Mine. 1 marshmallow or 2? Take 3, they're small. Now, let me tell you how I really feel.
Do you think I sold the apartment to throw you out? I really didn't, you know.
I know.
I thought the expenses here would be too much for you, and I knew you couldn't afford to buy up my half. And I thought if we sold it, you'd have a nice chunk of money to start over with.
You could have given me a little more time.
Maybe. But I thought the sooner you were out of here, the sooner you could get on with your life.
I don't think it was my life that you were worried about.
Maybe. Anyway, I'm not going to say that I don't know what you're talking about. When I read Colin's obituary in the newspaper, and I saw my name and Jimmy's and no mention of you, it was the secretary who wrote that up and sent it in, not me. But I should have done something about it, and I didn't. I know.
Wouldn't have made any difference. I wrote my own obituary for him, and I sent it into the smaller papers. They edited me out.
I'm sorry. But to say it was all my fault for not letting go. I remember at the funeral, standing there being surrounded by Colin's family and business associates while you were standing with your friends. And I knew it was wrong. I knew I should have done something, but it felt good to have them around me, and you looked as if you were holding up. Wrong. But Arthur, I didn't tell them what to do or who to stand with.
You didn't tell them not to.
Arthur, most of the people we're talking about didn't even know that Colin was gay right up to his death. And those that did know only found out when he was sick and work leaked out that he had AIDS. Now, I don't think I have to tell you how stupid and ill-informed most people are on the subject of homosexuality. And AIDS, the kind of insane behavior that word inspires. Those people at the funeral, how many times have you seen them over the years? How many of them ever came here? How many of them ever came to the hospital? Now, why should they behave any differently after his death? All right. That explains their behavior, but what about mine? Well, maybe there are no explanations, only excuses. Excuse number 1 is, you're right. I never really did let go of him. The first year after he moved out, we talked all the time. 2 or 3 times a day. We talked about everything. His new life, his apartment, the men he was seeing. It kept us close. It kept me part of his intimate life. And as long as we kept talking, I could hold on to the hope that maybe someday he would get over all this and come home. And then he got sick. He called me to tell me he was in the hospital and would I come see him. I ran. When I got there, I saw the sign on his door. Instructions for visitors of an AIDS patient. I nearly died.
He didn't tell you?
No. Believe me, a sign is no way to find out these things. I was so angry. He was so sick. I thought he'd die right then. Not from the illness, from the hospital staff's neglect. It was a fight to get them to do anything for him. I didn't blame them. They were scared. I was scared. The whole month he was there, I didn't let Jimmy visit him once. It was stupid. It was asinine. But you learn. Well, he didn't die. And he asked if he could come home with me until he got well. I said, yes, of course, yes. I never thought I'd admit this to anyone. But if he'd asked to come home for a few weeks, I would have said no. But he asked to come home until he was well. And to me, that meant forever. He was coming home with me forever. Not that I wanted him to die, but I assumed. And we'd be together for whatever time he had. Can you understand?
2 weeks later, he left. He moved back here to this apartment we bought as an investment, never to live in. Pretty soon the name Arthur starts creeping into every conversation. Did you see the doctor? Oh, yes, Arthur made me keep the appointment. You going to your folks for Thanksgiving? Oh, yeah, no, actually, Arthur and I are having friends over. I didn't know which one was more of a coward. Him for not telling me about you or me for not asking. And then we met. I don't think my loving him threatened your relationship. Maybe I'm not being truthful with myself, but I don't. That's not to say I wasn't jealous. But I was happy for Colin, because there was no denying he was happy. Despite everything he was facing, he was happy. At last. He lit up with you. I envied that. And you. The way you cared for him, sometimes over-cared for him. I never could have done it. I couldn't have survived. I don't know how you did.
Who said I survived?
You entered this relationship knowing full well, in all probability, this is the way it would end. And you never wavered.
Of course I did, Marion. Don't have me sainted. Sometimes you got no choice. Believe me, if I could have gotten away from him, I would have. But I was a prisoner of love. Anyway, there were lots of pluses. Got to quit a job I hated, stay home all day and watch game shows. Got to meet a lot of doctors, learned a lot of big words. Then there was all the exciting, exotic traveling we got to do. I have a box with a souvenir from each place we went. You want to see? Well, these are from the house that we rented in Reno when we went to clear out Colin's lungs. And these are from the hospital in Reno. Colin made them. That a wonderful arts and crafts program. This is from our first visit to the clinic in Paris. And this is from our second visit to the clinic in Paris. Faith healer in Philly. It doesn't do much for a fever, but it looks great with a green sweater. Voodoo doctor in New Orleans. And then we have Mexico, Houston, Boston, LA, San Francisco. We traveled anywhere where they had hope to sell. And we came home with souvenirs. Mary and I would have done anything, gone anywhere to avoid or delay. And not just because I loved him so desperately, but when you've lived the way that we lived for 3 years, the battle becomes your life. And I guess that's why I didn't tell you we were losing him. Why I didn't call until after he was gone. Marion, the last few hours of his life were beyond any scenario I had imagined. Well, you know he hadn't walked in nearly 6 months. He was totally incontinent. If he spoke 2 words in a week, I was thrilled. Days went by without his ever even looking at me. He would just stare out at I don't know what. Not the meals I fed him, not the TV I played all the time. Just out. Or maybe in. was the middle of the night, and his breathing was becoming labored. His lungs were filling with fluid again. I knew the sound. I heard it enough times before. So I called the ambulance. I got him to the hospital. They hooked him up to the machines, the oxygen, and they shot him with morphine. And they told me that they would do what they could to keep him alive. So I pulled a chair up next to the bed. And I was sitting there reading a magazine, wondering whether to call Helen to let the cleaning lady in, or maybe he'd fall asleep and I could sneak home for an hour. And when I looked up, he was looking at me. I mean, really looking right into my eyes. So I reached out and I patted his cheek. I said, "Oh, honey, it's all right. Everything's gonna be fine." But that wasn't enough for him. There was something more. And I don't know what I was thinking. I'm not sure I was. I just heard myself saying, "Colin, do you want to die?" His eyes filled, and they closed, and he nodded. I slipped off my shoes. I folded back the blanket, and I climbed into bed next to him. I put my arms around him. And I helped him to put his arms around me. And I told him, it's all right to let go now. It's time to move on. And he did. Marion, you've got a life. And his son.
I understand.
Oh, geez, with all this screaming and sad storytelling, I forgot I brought you flowers and everything.
You brought me flowers?
Well, I knew you'd never think to bring me flowers, and I felt that on an occasion such as this, somebody ought to get flowers from somebody.
Arthur, did anybody ever tell you you can make somebody feel like a real piece of garbage?
Yeah, so what else is new? Listen, you gotta promise me one thing.
What?
Don't press one in a book. You put them in a vase, and when they fade, just toss them out. No more memory.
Arthur, I want to do something for you, and I don't know what. What do you want?
Not much. I want to be remembered. If his mother sends you a Christmas card, make sure she sent one to me. If a friend calls to see how you're holding up, ask if they've called me. Have me to dinner so I can see Jimmy. Maybe let me take him out now and then. Invite me to his wedding.
You got it.
Oh, let me get the cold cocoa out of the way. We've still got the deed to do.
Yeah, now you'll get Jimmy home in time for practice.
What band practice?
Basketball. About this list, you do whatever you want.
Believe me, I will. But I promise I will take your suggestions under consideration. Just don't rush me. I'm not ready to give it all away. Hello? Oh, hi. It's your eager little eager.
Hi, honey. No, I'll be down in about 5 minutes. You know what? why didn't you come up here and get me? I said, why don't you come up here? I said, I want you to come up here. Because I said so. Thank you.
Okay, so where do we get started here?
Listen, do you want to do this another time?
No, let's get this over with now. I don't think I could survive another one of these sessions.
I've been meaning to ask you. How are you?
My health, I'm fine. No, really fine. I've been checked by the doctor and nothing. Well, we were very careful. We took many precautions. Colin used to joke that we should invest in rubber futures.
Sounds like him.
It never occurred to me till now. How about you?
We didn't have sex after he got sick.
But before.
I test positive. I have the antibodies in my blood, but there are no signs that it'll develop into anything. And it has been 5 years. So chances are that I'm just a carrier.
Colin never told me.
He didn't know. Actually, the only person that knows, aside from my husband and my doctor, is you.
And you and your husband.
Should invest in rubber futures. The only immediate problem is if we wanted children, which we do. So we'll wait. Miracles happen every day.
I don't know what to say.
Just tell me you'll be there if I ever need you.
Yes, sure. Take away one more thing that belonged to me.
Don't even joke about that.
You know, we'll never get this done today.
Till tomorrow.
Come on, Mom, we're gonna be late.
Don't you want to come in?
We've got to go.
Jimmy, come in.
Ma,
Take this for Mommy.
can we go now?
Say goodbye to your Uncle Arthur.
Bye, Arthur, come on.
Give him a kiss.
Oh, Marion, don't.
Give your uncle a kiss goodbye.
He's not my uncle.
No, he's a hell of a lot more than your uncle.
A handshake, I'll do.
Jimmy, tell your Uncle Arthur what your daddy told him.
About what?
Don't play dumb.
Don't embarrass him.
Jimmy, please.
He said that after me and Mommy, he loved you the most.
Go on.
And that I should love you too. And make sure that you're never lonely or very sad.
Thank you.
You did good, kid. Let's go. A child's kiss is magic. Why else would they be so stingy with them?